Welcome to lecture 34, file handling. So, in the last lecture we had seen writing formatted data in C++, right. So, here in Java also almost similar. So, only the syntax will be slightly differing, right. So, here we use string dot format method. So, this method is used to create formatted string, right. So, in fact it specifies the floating point numbers that should be formatted to, let us say in this particular example, 2 decimal places. So, this is what we have done in C++ also. So, here also we do, then we can change it, right. In the program we can change, you have done in C++. So, similarly you change it, in fact in line number 10 instead of 0.2f you put 0.1f, right, because it is a 0.456, yeah, 0.1f. So, now we have a class write formatted data, is a driver class, and you have void main, correct, and you have a try throw catch. So, try, you have a writer object under file writer, right. So, here you have java.io file writer and java.io input output exception. So, now you have allocated a memory with a constructor and then this will handle data.txt, right. So, it will try to open it. So, if it is not able to, it will be throwing exception and it will be caught in line number 12. So, now writer is invoking write, right. So, that is string will invoke the dot format, that is what I said, right, string format. So, it is used to create a formatted string, right. So, here string dot format and then here you have the value. So, you are printing this and then you know percentage point 2f, in fact C, right. So, C you can use it, the C syntax, percentage 0.2f, that means after decimal you are going to represent this in true precision. It is what exactly we have done in C++, right, set precision. So, 123.456, alright. So, let us see how it is going to print and then close the file. So, let us quickly go to the Java console, alright. So, here you have the format 123.456, let us run the code, I explained already. So, if we run the code, yeah, it is successfully running and we will see which file we have to see, just go to the Java code, yeah, output.txt, right. So, we will just open output.txt, here you go, yes, the value is now 123.46, fine. So, similarly, right, set with 20, set with 10, right, the same program if you write in Java. So, I have java.io.star and then formatter, right, utility formatter, and then I have a class, right, this class is format writer driver class, the main method, writer is the object under buffered writer, as usual we have used several times, and then you have a memory allocation with the constructor and file writer which is handling output.txt. So, if you are able to open, fine, line number 7 to 12 will be executed, otherwise there will be exception, it will be caught in line number 13. So, now when you look at, right, so formatter, that is the object under capital formatter which is a class, you have dynamic memory allocation with the constructor and then you are having this object writer, correct. So, now the formatter, this object is invoking format method. So, here when you put percentage, right, dash 20s, right, and then percentage 10s, right. So, for name it is allocating 20 characters and for score it is allocating 10 characters. So, that is the meaning, right. So, let us see when you are running the code, rest is clear, format dot close, yes, we have the name Alice, Bob, Charlie, and we quickly go to the Java console, right. So, Java console, what we can do, we will run this particular code, right. So, here you go, when I run the code it is successfully running and then we have to open output.txt. So, output.txt, when I, so you can see the output, alright. So, name Alice, score is 95 and so on, right. So, this is what we have to print and then you can see in both the languages C++ and Java, we can see how you can format the data, right, format the output file. So, this is the brief explanation about the code. So, in the output.text, so we need some alignment, right. So, we are making 2 columns and then each will be some set width, right. So, here like we are using the C code percentage, right, dash 20s and similarly percentage 10s. So, one is for the name, we have 20 characters and score we have 10 characters. So, that 10 characters in the sense up to 10 characters score, and a name up to 20 characters. So, that is the meaning, right. And then we use the buffered writer, which is the class. Under this we have used the object. So, that means it will deal with output.txt. So, if it is able to open this, not a problem. That means, if it is able to deal with this output.txt, not a problem, the rest of the code will run, otherwise it will throw the exception, go to the try block. And then we have used the class formatter. Under this we have an object small f, right, formatter. So, then we know what formatter did, we have allocated the memory, and then alright. So, when it is invoking dot format, so we have 20 characters for name and 10 characters for the score, alright, and then we have used the new line, etc., right. Here you can see percentage %n, alright, percentage %10s, and then since it is an integer we use percentage %10d. So, 10 characters, right. So, 10 space, right. So, this worked. In fact, we have got, so every line we have the name score first line, and then in fact we have got the output like this, right. So, name Alice score 95, right, name Bob score 87, and so on. So, right, we have got all these output. So, this is how we can write the formatted data into the file, right. So, this is applicable both in C++ and in Java, right. So, so far we have read, let us say in the file you have a list of characters. So, we have done line by line, right. So, every line we read. So, now you may ask the question, is it possible to read character by character? Yes, you can do that, right. So, let us consider my file, which is an object under input file stream. So, we are including f stream, that means both input and output, and IO stream and string, the usual one, right. So, first it is printing, reading character by character. So, that means my file initially line number 6, my file is handling example.txt, fine. So, now we have one variable C under data type character, okay. So, now if my file is invoking is open, if you are able to open this example.txt, and while my file dot get C, right, my file is invoking dot get character, right, C is a character. So, it is going, if you are unable to open, and when it is reading character by character, right. So, it goes, right. So, my file dot get C, which is true, right. So, then if C is equal to new line, so we have to print, here we are printing, just an example, we are printing the new line, right. Else if C is equal to blank space, okay, else if C is equal to blank space, we are printing the what we are printing. So, in that case we are printing one underscore, right. So, what we are doing, whenever suppose I love India, right. So, I blank space love blank space India, if it is there. So, we are going to have the output I underscore love underscore India, right. So, that is a case for the blank space, otherwise the character will be printed C out C. So, my file dot close, it is not a very difficult program. So, you can see that we will go to the C++ console and we can see example.txt. Yes, so we have several here, hello world, this is an example. In fact, we have used this and you can see new appended line, right. So, now we will see how we are going to print this. So, now let us go to the C++ program. So, we opened example.txt and we had seen, right. So, the same code I explained. So, it is continuing after line number 22, it is continuing. So, C out reading line by line, right. So, here one case is reading character by character, another one is reading line by line. So, in that case it is a usual one, this we had already seen, right. So, you know that we have already done this. So, my file will invoke open. So, example.txt we are handling. So, if my file is open, if you are able to do that, so put a line, a variable under string, initially put the integer variable line number is equal to 1. So, while your get line my file, that means you are handling, right, my file is opening, my file dot open is handling example.txt, right, and then you have, for example, first line I am reading, right, you are putting in that line, first line whatever, let us say I love India. So, now line is equal to I love India, you know that we have seen in the last class, right. So, now we are printing line it will give line number 1 is what, whichever is the line number 1 will be printed. So, one is character by character, another one is line by line. So, let us see how this works. In fact, we are printing, right, I mean C out, one is one it will print, right, another also C out statement. So, that means you have several C out statements, line number 14, 16, 18 and then 32. So, when we run the code, one is character by character, another one is line by line. Let us run the code, alright. So, when you run the code, you can see that, alright. So, initially you can see everything by underscore, first writing character by character and then you can see hello comma underscore world because of the blank space. So, all the blank space we have replaced by underscore, correct. So, that means we have read the file, right, we have read the file and then we are manipulating. So, when you are going character by character, replace, new line should be, right, you are writing slash new line and then you have underscore. If you have a big blank space, you can see one particular case the underscore is also big. And second case, line by line, right. So, what is line 1, line 2, line 3, right. So, this we are printing. So, we can able to manipulate both character by character as well as line by line. I hope it is clear for everyone, alright. So, the character by character, this I already explained. So, when you are having the while loop character by character, so here in this case whenever it is true, right, so get character, some character occurs, right, and then the loop is being executed and then you are printing with underscore as well as the new line point of view, alright. And the second case, it is reading line by line. So, this is the second loop, while get line my file comma line. So, that means it is reading line by line. So, character by character and line by line. So, the same code when we deal in Java, right, we had seen C++, so in the case of Java. So, you have the object fr under file reader, alright. So, you have allocated the memory and then you have a constructor. So, it is handling example.txt. So, while I is equal to fr dot read, that is not equal to -1, alright. So, whenever you have come with the end of the file, alright, end of the file, the last character. So, the object fr which is invoking read, right, assigning to I, and if it is not equal to -1, right. So, suppose I have the same example, I blank space love blank space India, correct. So, suppose it is reading the first character I, right, reading the first character I. So, it is converting into the integer ASCII value of that capital I, right. What is the ASCII value of capital I? Definitely not equal to -1, right. So, if it is not equal to -1, it is continuing, this is what the idea. If it is reaching at the end of the file, right, so then it is a null character. So, it is in Java, so it is assigned to -1, right. So, you can't use anything else, even -2 does not work, right. So, in Java by inbuilt, so they have used -1. So, that means you are at the end of the file means, so it is equal to -1. So, while loop will not be executed, you have to terminate, right. So, that is a termination case. Otherwise, so the rest of them are clear. So, I, the ASCII value are converting into character, and if a character is a new line, put the new line system.out.print new line, otherwise system.out.print underscore, whenever you have a blank space it is underscore, otherwise print the character, right, the same thing on line by line. So, you have BR which is an object, the buffer reader, under the class buffered reader allocating a memory with the constructor and then the file reader, right. So, that will handle example.txt. So, if you can able to open, well and good, you can able to access, well and good. So, otherwise it will throw the exception. So, here you have a line variable under string, and as usual line number you put 1 which is the integer variable. So, now while br dot read line, right. So, this we had done. So, br is invoking read line, put it in the line. So, complete line, so put it in the line, right. For example, the first line I blank space love blank space India. So, line is now I love India, alright. So, which is not null, true. So, that is printing, right. So, line will be printed with the blank space and whatever be the line number first, then only it will be incremented, line number 1, right, and then you are printing what is that line, the same whatever we had seen in C++, So, that is in Java, right. So, this is what I explained, correct. So, character by character and line by line. So, maybe we will run the code. So, we will go to the Java compiler. So, you can see all the output, right. So, reading character by character, we are getting underscore, right, and whenever you have the new line, it is indicating /n, correct. And next one, reading line by line, you can see line 1 hello world, line 2 this is an example file, right. So, like this we have the output. So, this is how we can read character by character as well as line by line. I hope it is clear for everyone. So, let us consider one more example where here we are reading from a CSV file, right. So, comma separated values file, CSV stands for. So, I include F stream, file stream, input output stream and string stream. S stream stands for string stream and then usual string, right. So, now we have CSV file as an object. So, which is dealing data.csv under the class if stream, right. I mean to say input file stream. So, we have line and cell as a string, the usual string data type. So, now if CSV file which is an object can able to open, right, this data.csv, it is going into the while block, right. So, while you have get line. So, get line, I mean you may have let us say 10 lines, we have seen several programs. So, the first line will be copied into line, that is the meaning, right. So, the first line will be copied into the line. So, CSV file, so we know that it is line number 7 is an object and the line get line, the first line will be copied into line, that is the meaning. So, now we have an object line stream, under string stream we have included line number 3 S stream, alright. So, now the line, let us assume the first line, we is a while loop, it will go to the first line. So, now line, assume that the first line is something, right, with a string. So, that particular variable will be stored under line, right, that particular values are stored under the variable line, right, and line stream is an object under the class string stream, right, we have already included S stream. Okay. So, now you have one more while statement, right. So, this while statement you can see that get line, right. So, get line, you have an object line stream here and then you have a string cell which is separated by a comma delimiter, alright. So, that means it will split the current line into an array of cells using the comma delimiter, that is the meaning, right. And then what you are doing, you are C out cell which are with a tab, alright, C out cell with a tab. So, once you are coming out of the while loop, so it will do, it will keep on doing for all the lines, right. So, it will be like splitted into cells with a comma delimiter and then it is printing cell, right. So, it is keep on doing that and you have a C out statement, right, endl, C out endl, alright, that means the next line. So, your this while loop is ending over here, begin and end, right, and then you are in this while loop, for that C out one new line, right, and then your while loop line number 11 while loop is ended in line number 17. So, now you close the CSV file is invoking close and then if at all you are not able to open, right, that CSV file data.csv, then you are having the error message unable to open CSV file. So, let us consider this interesting program in the C++ console. Yeah. So, whatever I explained, it is under data.csv. So, now if we run the code, alright. So, you can see the output, this is objects, you can see the tab, right. So, this is object and in fact, this is object and then the tab, maybe the next line is going object oriented programming, right. So, this is object oriented programming, you can see 2 lines. So, in fact, if possible we will open data.csv, yes, this, yeah, that I said your cell which is right splits the current line. So, your current line is this comma is comma object. So, that means splits the current line into an array of cells, right. So, that is what you are getting this and then what you are printing with a tab, right. So, that is why you are getting this tab is tab object, right. So, array of cells using the comma delimiter. So, when I have the comma delimiter, So, it is making into the words with the tab. So, that is why if you look at the output, we will go to the C++, maybe one more time we will run, alright. So, if you look at the output, you are getting like this, there is no comma now, this tab is tab, right, object oriented, right, and then tab programming, right, okay. Similarly, we can do it in Java as well, right. So, almost similar. So, you have class CSV reader and this is your driver class because of main, and you have reader object under buffered reader, memory allocation with the constructor, right. So, file reader which is handling data.csv. So, you have line under string. So, while line is equal to reader.read line, that means yes, every line, right. So, the reader is invoking read line that you are putting in line, right. So, till it is not equal to null. So, if it is null, over, the while is false, right, it will come out. And then you have cells. So, unlike in C++, we have written on our own. So, here in this case you can always call the method, alright. So, cells is the array of string, alright, and then line is invoking split. So, whenever you have to, you will having comma, alright, in a text you will have you are having comma, let us say in the line, right, this comma is comma object comma oriented like this. So, we have to split this with the help of this comma delimiter and then put the cells, alright. So, in this case you are calling the method split like what we have done in C++. So, here you are calling the method, and then for string, right. So, cell which is equal to cells, correct. So, you have array of cells, alright. So, here you are using this for, alright. So, case of cell and then you are printing this cell. So, that means every word will become now the string of cells, right. So, that you are copying into cell. So, I am printing this cell with the tab, exactly what we have done in C++, similar, right, and then you are having the new line, right, every time you are going to have the new line. So, like exactly same what we had seen in Java, sorry, exactly what we had seen in C++. So, here we are going to run the code in Java, yeah. Anyway, I explained this, yeah. So, you can see this, and then we are having a tab is, we are having a tab object, right, and then the new line oriented tab programming, okay. So, this is how we can handle or we can read the CSV file, comma separated values. CSV stands for comma separated values, fine. So, this is how we can read the file, write the file, alright, and then you append, you can have the format, how you can do the CSV file, how you can read the CSV file, right. So, all this we had seen. So, now how this is happening? So, for this you should know the concept of serialization and deserialization, right. So, for example, when I am talking about serialization, it is nothing but the process of, right, converting an object state to a byte stream, right. So, the byte stream in the sense you can able to save it as a file, or you can put it in a database, or you can transmit to a network. So, that you call it as serialization, and the another one is deserialization, that means exactly the reverse process. So, that means I am going to reconstruct an object. Where will you reconstruct? Where from you will reconstruct? You will reconstruct from the byte stream, right. So, when the object state is converting into byte stream, correct, you call that as a serialization. That means I am saving, right, this object state as a file, you call it as a byte stream, or put it in any database, or put it in any memory, or transmit over a network. So, this is called serialization. When you do the other way around, right, the reconstruction from a byte stream to, let us say, the object, you call it as deserialization. So, why it is required? The reason is serialization makes it possible to persist objects, right. So, these objects you can use for the future use, or you can even send them to another system or application, right. So, the persistence of objects, for that we use the serialization. In fact, this slide will tell you why we are using serialization, alright. So, as I already said, the persistence, right. So, you can save the state of an object to a file for the future use. So, that is called the persistence, and data transfer. So, you can transfer the data, right. In fact, you can transfer the objects over a network. So, in the networking, I mean some of you might have studied the client server applications, right. So, which you call it as a data transfer. And next one is interoperability, right. So, I want to share object between applications. So, you can use several applications, you are using let us say different languages, and then in one language I have to use the .obj, that is objects, right. So, in that case when I want to share object between applications written in different languages, so the serialization is very much useful. Also the deep copy, right. So, you can have a full copy of an object, right, even if it contains a reference to other objects, the address of other objects, right. So, you can have a full copy of an object. So, this is what the meaning. So, when you have the meaning of serialization, right, serialization. So, you have an object. So, the object that you are storing as a file or a database or in a memory, right. So, this is nothing but the serialization, that means you are storing, right. So, storing as a byte stream. So, the byte stream may be a file, may be a database or may be a memory, correct. And deserialization. So, here you have in the byte stream format, you are reconstructing the object. So, for that the concept is nothing but deserialization. So, when we talk about C++, it does not have the inbuilt serialization, whereas the languages like Java, you can have the concept of inbuilt serialization, right. So, here what we can do, we can write our own code, right. So, we can write the code, all right, in the case of C++, all right. Also the use of stream, the meaning of output file stream and the input file stream for reading and writing the binary data, right. So, for writing in the case of output file stream writing and input file stream reading. So, alright, so we can use these for writing the binary data. And finally, the structures or objects, those need to be saved by writing each data member to the file, right. So, for this, in fact, in the next class, so what we can do, we will talk about the basic serialization and deserialization in C++ as well as Java, all right. So, with this I am completing today's class. Thank you all.